Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. My name is Jordan. This is your 60-minute yin sequence. I'm so excited that you're here. Let me just introduce some props that may be useful along our yin journey. I have with me today a blanket to maybe just bring the earth up to meet the body. We will be coming into a modified swan shape. So a hip opener, sometimes it can be nice to have something that can conform to the body a little bit easier than maybe a block. Yeah. Also, my favorite way to use a blanket during a yin class is to wear it around my back like a little cape, just for a little extra, you know, comfy cozy, a little nervous system treat as we get into these deep shapes for a prolonged period of time. We'll be holding all of our poses for about 5 minutes throughout the entirety of the class. So feel free to have a blanket handy if you want to do something like that. If not, no biggie. I'm here merely to suggest you are captain of your own ship. I also have a bolster with me. We will be coming into supported fish. If you like to use blocks for your supported fish, you're more than welcome to use that variation. For me, especially for my yin practice, I prefer to use a bolster to kind of conform to the back body, hold me up in space, in a little bit of a softer way. Yeah. And then I can use my blocks for other things around to support the body. That being said, blocks are also a great thing to have in a yin practice. We will be coming into some forward folds. So having an option to bring something up to meet the hands is a great thing to have handy. Maybe you have an ottoman or a little footstool. That's a great option as well. Doesn't have to have a yoga stamp on it to use it for yoga. We will begin in a comfortable seat. So if you'd like to take your blanket and elevate the hips, just to invite a little bit of length in the spine, space in the low body. And we'll take a moment just to ground here. Take your time arriving in your space. Maybe you'd like to light a special candle. I am a New England girly. And so for me, I have my nice apple cinnamon candle lit just to have something nice and yummy to smell while we're holding these shapes and practicing, just to keep the mind soft, and then in turn maybe we can soften the body. So yeah, maybe you'd like to light a candle or even put on some nature sounds or have some instrumental music, or you're welcome to 86 all of those ideas and do you. This is your time, this is your practice. As I mentioned, we will be holding our shapes for about 5 minutes, but feel free to come out, make an adjustment. Follow the depth and quality of your breath to meet yourself where you are in the present moment. That, my friends, is the most advanced yoga you can do, making informed decisions about how you want to move on your mat. That being said, let's meet in a comfortable seat. Perhaps you'd like to join me in sitting up on a blanket. You can have your blocks, if you'd like, out in front of you. Or maybe you want to sit up on one. Maybe you're kneeling and sitting up on a block. And we'll take a few moments here just to close down the eyes if that feels comfortable. Bring a gentle awareness to the body, to the breath. If there's any tension in the face, if we feel like we're squinting with the eyes closed or furrowing the brow, bring an awareness to the space between the top teeth and the bottom teeth. Bring the tongue to the bottom of the mouth. And notice if this has an impact on any of that gripping. intentionally invite softness simply by becoming aware of spaces that are already softening. Bringing awareness to the heaviness of the body. And we'll find a deep breath in and out together here. Keeping the hands as they are in the lap or on either side. Inhale through the nose. Long, slow, deep inhalation. Like you could bloom the lungs with breath. And exhale out the mouth. Long, slow exhalation. Notice the sound, the temperature. Maybe it has a texture. And gently bring the chin to the chest. And allow the breath to return to its natural rhythm. And as you're ready, inhale the shoulders up towards the ears. You're welcome to flutter the eyes open if you'd like. And exhale, glide the shoulders back and down. Taking a few shoulder loops here. Just to get in touch with the breath. Your gentle awareness to the body. You can reverse the loop. And come back to center. We'll kick the legs out wide, coming into our first yin shape here, our dragonfly, a straddle fold. Taking the feet out as wide as feels good to you today. If you have any hypermobile stuff, feel free to place maybe a rolled up blanket or a block underneath one or both knees, just to take some of the effort out of doing, out of thinking about holding ourselves up in space here. You can also sit up on a blanket or a block to get that nice tilt forward of the pelvis. And you can take your blocks out in front of you. Maybe you'd like to take a bolster out in front of you as well. Place it over the top of your blocks. And begin to hinge forward, leading with the heart, hugging the navel in, and then finding length and allowing your fold to make itself known in whatever way it's meant to today. Come back to that space between the teeth. Tongue to the bottom of the mouth. Perhaps you'd like to let the head dangle or rest on your little shelf, if you've created a shelf like me here. Notice if we're gripping in the ankles or the toes. Breathe deep into the back body as we bring new nourishing space to the adrenals, the bladder meridian, the kidneys, and the liver. We're about halfway through our first shape here. Be kind to yourself. Invite softness. Surrender to the pull of gravity. Gently scan through the body. And come home to the breath as many times at any time. Find one or two more full cycles of breath here. Noticing the skin stretch on the inhale and the body surrender a little more to the pull of gravity on every exhale. And as you're ready, begin to press your way back to an upright position, maybe letting the head align over the heart last. Slowly coming back upright. Maybe you'd like to roll out the ankles, wiggle the toes, take the chin from one side to the other, tick-tocking ear to shoulder. And we'll take our little shelf here, if you built one, place it off to one side. You may want to have a block or a bolster over to the left for the next shape we'll make. Moving mindfully to stay in that nice yin state. And bring your fingerprints to the backs of the knees, draw the heels in, bend the knees, plant the palms at either side, and windshield wipe the knees from side to side. Maybe as the knees go left, we look right. And as they go right, we look left. Noticing any sensations, becoming curious how it feels to come out of that shape after holding it for an extended period of time. And as you're ready, allow the knees to drape to the left. And you may have to shift your hips just a bit. We'll come into a modified swan or our stag shape. So kind of like a mixture between swan and deer pose, or half pigeon and deer pose. And take your right heel, guide it in towards your glute, and guide your right knee maybe up towards your left heel. Again, they don't have to touch or anything. Find a nice stable base here. You may even like to take your blanket and scooch the edge up underneath the seat. That's a great option as well. Just filling in the gap between your body and the surface supporting you so we can allow gravity to do some of the work for us, yeah? So take a moment to find your stable base here, and left knee or left heel can always be closer in. We can be making more of a pinwheel shape here, but unlike our deer shape, our right knee isn't necessarily pointing to the right. We're not in this 90-90 complete pinwheel shape. We have our right knee up towards our left foot. And we can take our blocks, place them out in front, and take a moment up tall, maybe hands on your blocks in front of your left shin. And a nice inhale, maybe bring the chin towards the sky. And exhale to hinge forward, folding any amount, maybe walking the palms forward, maybe coming to forearms on your blocks. Not necessarily going right to where we believe our end range of motion to be. And instead viewing that place as a cliff, that beginning of sensation, or the entrance to a path, and taking 2 steps back. And allowing every cycle of breath to guide you deeper in. Allowing the inhales to create the space necessary to soften. And our exhales, like one step forward, deeper into the woods. We will be here for about 5 minutes. So keep in mind, you can always make an adjustment. You can come out. We're not chasing sensation or a stillness born from rigidity. We're approaching the halfway point. Notice if there's an adjustment the depth and quality of your breath is asking you to make. Or perhaps the mind has wandered quite far away. All of that is okay. Reacquaint with the spaces we can fill with softness. Perhaps even bringing to mind things that are soft, like a flower petal or the tiny space between the ears of a cat. And allow that softness to expand. About 3 more slow, steady breaths here. As if you could breathe beyond the confines of your physical body. Begin to press up onto the palms if you'd melted, onto the forearms. Maybe keeping the gaze soft or the eyes closed, letting the head come up last. Coming back to an upright position. You can take the palms behind the body, flex into the feet, and come back to those windshield wiper motions. Moving really mindfully here, showing a little bit of care for our knees, for our joints, and becoming curious about sensation. Maybe we'd like to take the legs out wide and long, point and flex. And as you're ready, draw the heels in just a bit. With the knees bent, we'll take our blocks over to the right, moving from left to right with our asymmetrical shapes here as a way of inviting the cool lunar yin momentum to lead the way. Take your knees, allow them to rest, to drape over to the right. Take a moment here to pull the left heel in towards the glute. Maybe bring your right heel in a little closer. Find your nice stable base. And take a moment upright here to notice if this side is unique in some way. Maybe it calls for something just a little bit different. And perhaps we can still cultivate balance by doing 2 things that don't look exactly the same. Maybe we'd like to take a blanket underneath our right knee or underneath our hips and take our blocks out in front of us, finding a nice tall spine here, maybe a gentle lift of the heart. Inhale. And on your exhale, begin to walk the palms forward any amount. Maybe staying up tall here on hands, on blocks. It's completely okay if the body has to work a little bit to hold us in space. How can we invite softness in the presence of a little bit of stability? If you'd like, you can come down to the forearms. Again, not chasing sensation. Noticing where we may revert to any gripping or holding, any muscle memory. And bring that space between the teeth, tongue to the bottom of the mouth, and awareness of any unraveling subsequent to that. Allowing it to expand. Getting the ego out of the way just for the next 4 minutes. So we allow the body to surrender to the pull of gravity without fighting the pull of gravity. One or two more deep breaths here. Begin to press up onto the palms again, letting the head dangle, lifting it last. Gently making your way back to an upright position, noticing sensations as we travel, flexing into the feet, taking the knees, talking the knees from side to side. And we'll kick the legs out long, facing the short edge of our mat. And again, you can take a moment to pedal out the feet, roll the ankles, give your knees a little bit of TLC after those deep hip openers and extending of the legs. And we'll take our bolster, or if you'd like, you can set up for supported fish with your blocks if that's your preferred method of travel here. Love that for you. Maybe taking a block to support the back of the head and another one to support the mid to upper back. You can do that. Wonderful option. Or you can take a bolster, or if you have a thick blanket, you can roll up like a nice big soft burrito. That is a great option as well. You can place it behind the body. To catch the length of your torso. And find a nice deep breath in here, maybe with the knees bent. And use your exhale to release down onto whatever you'd like to have supporting you here in your fish shape. Maybe you'd like to have the legs out long, arms out at either side. If there's any excess tension in the shoulders, great option is to bring a block or a rolled up blanket underneath one or both shoulders. Just to bring the earth up to meet your extremities here. We're taking some of the effort out of doing. Give yourself what you need to stay focused on your breath and this journey of cultivating softness and melting the armor of the heart space. You're also welcome to keep the knees bent here. You can take the feet in together, knees wide, or bound angle. Keeping in mind, if there's anything that could be described as sharp or painful, you always want to take that as just an invitation from the physical body to make an adjustment. To give yourself what you need to embrace softness and surrender in the presence of sensation. Another option here, since the nervous system can feel a little bit vulnerable with the chest and the abdominal organs out in the open, we can take our blanket and place it over the belly just for a little bit of added security. Set yourself up for success and come home to the breath. Couple of minutes left here. Notice if there's an adjustment that can be made or any new places we can invite softness. Few more deep breaths here. See if we can imagine filling every cell of the lungs with new and nourishing breath. If you had the bound angle legs, go ahead and bring the knees in back together. Maybe kick them out long. And depending on how you're set up, you can shimmy the elbows, forearms in close towards the body, pressing into the earth, tucking the chin, lifting up onto one hand and then the other, or you can always do a nice roll over to one side. That's one of my favorite ways to dismount from my supported fish. Very effective. Very nice. And we'll move right into a forward fold, described by one of my favorite teachers as the antidote to a deep hip opener, our caterpillar shape. So taking a moment, setting yourself up here. If you'd like to sit up on a blanket, you're welcome to do so. Or maybe you've started to get a little chilly and it's time to introduce your blanket cape into your practice. All options and proptions are welcome. And for me, I like to take my bolster and place it over the tops of my legs. Really lean in heavy to the idea of being fully supported in my caterpillar shape. Another option similar to our dragonfly fold is taking something underneath the knees to avoid any hyperextension. So either your rolled up blanket or maybe a bolster. That's a great option. For me tonight, I'm going to take my bolster on the top of my legs and a block on the top of my bolster to support the forehead. You can also have the hands out at either side. Holding yourself up in space is still a lovely place to be. As you're ready, find a nice tall spine, a big breath in. And exhale to hinge. Pull the heart forward as the navel draws in, almost like heart and tail are moving in opposite directions to get that nice length in the torso. So we're not overextending in our lumbar spine or our low back. And fold any amount, giving yourself what you need to be supported here in our caterpillar shape, this gentle inward shape, like a caterpillar, perhaps in its little cocoon, doing all the things it needs to do to transform. Yin is a practice of quiet strength, much like the caterpillar. Allow the shoulders to soften and round. Maybe you'd like to let the head dangle. And bring softness back to the face. Imagine as if you could breathe into the backs of the lungs. About 3 more full cycles of breath here. Beginning to get heavy in the tail. Allow this to inspire the torso to lift. Coming up slow, moving in your own way. Realigning the head back over the heart. Maybe finding a circle or two with the nose. Trying little crescent shapes or maybe big full moon circles. Mindful not to excite the muscles too much. So we can stay targeting the joints, the connective tissue, the ligaments, the yin parts of the body. You can move your props off to one side. They may come in handy for our last two shapes. We have one more asymmetrical shape, so two-sided. You can, if you're sitting up on a blanket, you can put it off to one side. And we'll find a nice, slow, intentional roll to the back body, making sure our props are within reaching distance and anything else we may like to have for our transition to Savasana, because we'll be on the back body for the rest of our time here together. So it might be nice to give yourself what you need to transition to rest with as little effort as possible. Take a moment with the spine long and neutral here. You're welcome to bend the knees if that is calling to you. We'll just take a moment to be neutral here in the spine. Reacquaint with how it feels to be supported on the back body by our mat. Noticing the points of contact we make and how the earth comes up to meet the body without judgment. Maybe we can carry this notion with us into these last few shapes together. As you're ready, reach the arms up long overhead. Big breath in. And on your exhale, hug the left knee in towards the chest, setting up for a supine twist. So if you like to have a bolster to meet your left knee as we twist to the right, you're welcome to do so. Or maybe you want to have a blanket nearby that we can snuggle underneath the left shoulder. Take a moment here, hugging the left knee in towards the chest. Maybe flex the foot. And on an exhale, guide the left knee up and over into your twist. Taking what you need to fill the gap between your body and the earth. So we can invite the body to embrace its full heaviness. Supporting ourselves in this way sends a message to the muscles that it is okay to let go, that they don't have to work to hold us here in space, and we're safe to surrender, to become heavy. Maybe you'd like to bring a little bit of space between the teeth, tongue back to the bottom of the mouth. You can rest the hands on the body, bringing awareness to the rise and fall of the chest. As breath continues to circulate without us even having to ask. Even in these twists and in the presence of sensation. few more deep breaths here in your twist on the first side. Maybe breathing a little deeper, a little slower. And as you're ready, begin to draw the torso back through center. And before we kick the left leg long, we'll find a reclined tree shape, bringing the sole of the left foot to the inside of the right leg, left knee bent, draping open, maybe reaching for a block. And take a moment to notice how it feels to open up the left hip. Begin to sprout the left leg long. And take a moment here just to become aware of any differences between the two sides of the body. And as you're ready, inhale to reach out long from fingertips to toes. Use your exhale to hug the right knee in towards the chest, giving it a little squeeze. And as you're ready, guide the right knee up and over to the left, any amount, maybe reaching for a bolster to meet your right knee, just to take any excess pressure out of the low back. And we'll hold our twist here for about 3 minutes, so a little bit shorter than our other shapes. As we wind down and move closer to rest. Again, you might like to place something underneath the right knee or even the right shoulder just to fill the gap. And invite the physical body to begin letting go in the presence of this safety you've provided, the support you've provided. Few more breaths here. As you're ready, begin to guide the right knee back through center, finding that reclined tree shape on the second side. As you're ready, begin to sprout the right leg long. And take a moment here in a corpse pose. Just noticing how it feels to be in the body physically, maybe even energetically. And you're welcome to use this shape undisturbed as your Shavasana shape. If you'd like to bring something behind the backs of the knees to support the low back. Or maybe you'd like to find constructive rest. You can also take your blanket once more, fold it once or twice to bring a gentle pressure to the abdomen, maybe letting it rest over the belly. Just sending a signal to our survival brain, our lizard brain, that the vulnerable organs of the abdominal cavity are safe and protected, and it's okay if we close our eyes and rest for a little while. We'll be here in our Shavasana shape for the next few minutes, resting and digesting the nutrients of this practice. Invite the body to embrace its heaviness, maybe even bringing to mind soft moss on a forest floor, lush and cool and green. Allowing the body to spread here like silk or a flower petal. And take rest. And the next time you hear my voice, I will be guiding you out. You are welcome to stay in your Shavasana shape for as long as time allows. But if you're ready, if it's time to take this practice off the mat and into the rest of your day, I invite you to deepen the breath, bring an awareness to the air on your skin, ears listening to sounds nearby, maybe wiggle the fingers, knead into the toes. Think happy cat in a soft, warm blanket, inviting any small movements to expand in their own time, in your own way, as a way of inviting this new and beautiful space you took the time to create today to come up off the mat with you. You can stretch out long from fingertips to toes, shine the rib cage towards the sky, and hug the knees in towards the chest, making your way to one side or the other, and pressing your way up to a comfortable seat, whatever that feels like to you today, with the gaze soft or the eyes still closed down, where we can take a deep breath in and out together to celebrate the past hour spent in community doing yoga and honor the decision you made to fill your cup today, to bring a little bit more presence, not only to yourself, but to the world. You can join the thumbs together at the heart space, Anjali Mudra. One final breath together. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, let it go. Thank you for sharing your time, your space, your energy, and your practice, not only with me, but with each other. It's an honor and a privilege to share this space with you, to guide you through this practice as you show up in community for yourselves and for each other. Namaste.